I am, sweetheart. Question is, do you know who your husband is? Because if he had the leverage over me that I had over him with that serum, you can bet your newly mobile ass that he would use it to go after Tamara.
So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on in today's episode. So hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Daysofourlives, February 13, 2025. So we start off with Sarah and Kristen, right? So Kristen is over there having a drink because she's wondering about what's going on with Ava. She's wondering if she made the right choice regarding leaving Ava there in her mom's, captive, right? So Sarah comes over. Sarah tells her how she's glad that Rachel's back home safe with her. She's right where she belongs, and Kristen is happy about that. She appreciates the kind words. So Kristen talks about the whole serum thing because she tells Sarah that she's glad that she's actually mobile and walking, and she's glad that she had a role in handing over the serum. So we all know that that's a load of BS because she didn't do it out of the volition of her good heart. She actually just did it because she wanted to, get back with Brady. So Sarah said, no thanks to you because you really was gonna do that. In order to get control of Xander's, birthright, his company. So you didn't do it out of the goodness of your heart. So anyway, she said, I know you're not talking to me about how Xander, wouldn't do the same if it was on, if the shoe was on his foot. So she said, no, Xander is nothing like you. He, is a changed man. He did a lot of good things just for us. And, he's nothing like you. So she said, really? No, Xander is everything like me, if not even worse than me. He would do anything for money and power. So Sarah's tried to defend him and say, he's turned a new leaf. And she said, oh, come on now. If that letter that Philip didn't present in court wasn't there, Xander would have control of that, and he would be doing what he would be doing and just being ruthless, right? I don't think you know your husband that much, and I think you're really delusional. So she said, I think you're delusional because at this point, at least we're together and we're doing what we're doing, and you're just still pining after Brady, and that's not gonna happen because he's with Ava now, right? So she said, okay, I hand it to you. You had more guts than what I thought. So anyway, she said that, do you really think that they're gonna be working together harmoniously as brothers for long? Like, come on, no. We are girls and we know how men can get. So Sarah at some point she thought about the whole forged letter thing, and that's when she got uncomfortable. So she said, you know what, I need to go home, right? So Kristen is there like, what's going on with this girl? Like, what's really happening? So I mean at this point, like, Sarah needs to look into her own self and realize that she is just as bad, if not worse, than what Xander is going on with now, because the fact that she's hiding this thing big and talking about birthright and Xander's birthright and all that, like, I mean, come on now, right? So I'm going back into this scene now because I'm definitely talking a lot on Sarah, and I need to give the other characters their shine. So we're going to Belle and Brady, right? So Belle is just there doing some paperwork. Brady comes in because he wants somebody to vent to, right, about what's going on with Ava. He's worried about her. He hasn't heard nothing from her, so he tells Belle that he's looking into he's asked Steve to look into the inaudible voice message that Ava sent him and see if they can really fine tune it, edit it, do something to it so that they can really clarify where Ava could be. So Belle said, if anybody can really do something about it, it's Steve, and don't worry too much about it. So you can stay here if you want, so that I can distract you from that going on, so that you don't think the worst. So he said, okay, cool. So let's talk about you and your love life, and that you slept with EJ. So she said, Lord, Marlena told you that. Marlena is supposed to be like a psychiatrist, not the town gossip. So he said, come on now, like, she walked into your room and it's her house, like, she saw you doing what you're doing with EJ, and he's like, of all the people, why settle with EJ? Like, I know you're going through your divorce with Sean, but like, why settle with EJ, a dangerous person, immoral, blah blah blah. So she's saying like, I know you're not lecturing me on my love life, giving your history. And he said, like, I know that, but I just have to call it what it is. And I think you're just, having some kind of a crisis. And she's like, I'm not a teen girl looking for the bad boy of the town. And she said, maybe, I just find something alluring to him. I just want to fix him like a puzzle piece and all that. So she just attracted to him, because of his, just who he is, right? So she has her eyes open. She claims to have her eyes open, and she knows who EJ is, and that is what it is, right? But I'm saying Brady has no right to judge her and her love life, because again, he has had some questionable relationships, and anyways, so go to Xander and Philip. So Philip was talking to his father's portrait, and he's saying that he's doing what's right for the family. And at this point, Xander comes in, he's furious, and he throws Philip's drink. And Philip, Xander is like, you think you could get away with this? You're hiding stuff from me. And Philip is saying, what are you talking about? Because at this point he thinks that Xander found out his secret. So Xander said, like, how come you hired a private investigator to look up dirt on me? Like, I thought we were past this. I thought we were trying to be brothers and work together. So he said it's nothing like that. I hired a PI to really look into the Demira family, and because you used to work with Kristen, like, they had to kind of find information on you, but it's not about you directly, it's about Kristen, right? So I found out a lot about her and her brother and her mom, and how her mother died in this accident in Paris. And they're trying to find the weak link in the family to see who they can really align with, so they can get control of Titan. So they realize that the Demira siblings are really close. Despite them turning on each other, they still gotta look out for each other. And Philip is suggesting that they go after another shareholder who's not a Demira by blood, and not a Demira overall, so that's Wei Shin, and maybe they can work with Wei Shin because of what EJ and Melinda did to not help Lee's case and all of that, right? So they're strategizing, thinking how they can really take down Demira. And Xander apologizes for arguing with him earlier and throwing his drink, so he offers to clean up the mess, and they offer to just he offers to just look past that, right? So Arnold is in office, posing as Commissioner Ray Fernandez, and I don't know what takes this moron to feel like, okay, he can, puff a cigar in the police office, like, you think he would have a little sense up in there to say, okay, I'm not gonna smoke, or I'm not gonna do something like that in that kind of institution. But this is Arnold we're talking about, right? So anyways, Jada comes in, and Jada is saying, you're getting comfortable in my job, aren't you? So it's like, let's not make it a big deal. I thought Paulina told you so. She said no, Sean did. At least he had a decency to, and I thought you would have been the one to tell me, but okay. So he said that, I just wanted to just, move forward and all that. So she's like, you do know that there's a no smoking policy in here. And he said, sorry about that, I just was celebrating, blah blah blah. So she's saying, like, how could you really allow EJ to really falsify evidence against me, information against me? Like, why would you do that? So it's like, I didn't know that, it would turn out that there would be evidence against you. And at the end of the day, we just got to move past it. EJ seems to have won. So you just have to kind of put it behind you. And look, I can talk to Paulina for you to, be a detective or work together again. So at this time, he's just behaving misogynistic. He's being a narcissist and all that. And, he tries to come on to Jada, and he said, we can work together professionally and personally again, pick up where we left off. So she slapped him in the face, and I think he deserved it. But, she's saying, I don't want nothing to do with you, especially with what happened. And, you can forget about that or forget about us, right? So she gives him back the ring, or she throws the ring back at him, and she storms out. He tries to catch up to her, and then she runs into Sean and says, she needs to get out, get some air. So Sean follows behind her. So Rafe at some point calls EJ and tells him that, Jada is onto him, and she's saying that I'm not the man that she thought I was. And, EJ doesn't want to hear about it because he has some more pressing matters. So we talk about that later on. So Jada and Sean get to talk at the pub, and Jada is just, surprised that why Rafe would do this to her, like why he would hurt her like that, even to work with the likes of EJ. And, the fact that he would just want her to just forget about it, move forward, like it didn't happen, like it wasn't affecting her. She just can't believe that. And she's saying, like, with Bobby, he had a mental illness, so she understood with him, but, she's wondering what is Rafe's excuses, like he's a different person overall. So Sean is saying, yeah, I can definitely understand that, and he has definitely been acting differently. And Jada said, I don't think we're talking about Rafe no more. So he said, yeah, it's about Belle. I found out that she slept with EJ, and I just thought that she wouldn't go down that road again. So Jada said, I thought she had standards. So Sean said that it was that one night she said it wouldn't happen again, and Jada is saying that I don't think you should believe her at all, because remember Jada saw Belle at EJ's place, and Belle was saying she was there for see Johnny, and Jada's not understanding, okay, maybe she was just there to hook up with EJ again. But at the end of the day, it's Belle's life, Belle's business, who she wants to, be with. John and her are divorced, so I don't see why they should bother him, because at the end of the day, he was the one that called for the divorce, and he shouldn't care what's going on with Belle's personal life. Like, it has nothing to do with him, and it shouldn't bother him. You're the one that called for the divorce, sir. So remember I said that EJ had some pressing matters to deal with instead of talking on the phone with Arnold. So he was at Arameda already stashing the real Rafe away, right? So he was on the phone with his assistant telling her about that he had to move Rafe because it was getting too hot at the Mary Mansion. So while he was on the phone, he heard a noise. He come off the phone and he comes in. He sees Ava tied up and he's wondering what's going on. So he pulls the gag out of her mouth and he asks her what's going on. She said that your niece has me here hostage, and he said, come on now, like Rachel, a 10-year-old will do that. So she's saying that it's not only her, she had help. So at this point, Rachel Blake comes in, and EJ saying, who are you, what you doing here? So she said, I have to ask you that question, you're in my house. So anyways, Ava introduces her to EJ and said that's Rachel Blake, that's Kristen's mom, and EJ saying no, like she died decades ago, like I don't believe this. So how did you survive the accident? So she said that she was able to survive it and all that, right? So she said that EJ said, what about Kristen? Does she know? So Ava said, yes, I was here to witness Kristen and her reuniting, having a mommy-daughter moment. So EJ is saying, like, so what's the deal with what's the deal with her being tied up here? So he decided he's trying to untie her, because he has some decency to try to help her. But at some point, Rachel Blake is saying, like, no, I wouldn't do that if I were you, and let's talk outside. So Ava is begging and pleading with him to not listen to her, and just set her free, right? So he goes out there to talk to her, and he's saying, like, why shouldn't I help her? So she said, come on, I'm doing it for Rachel and Kristen. Like, you really want your niece to be in a psychiatric place or juvenile detention? If this lady is gonna be released, she's gonna do more harm than good. I'm doing Kristen and Rachel a favor by keeping her here, and besides, like, you have a gentleman upstairs, and if you tell on me, I'm gonna tell you. That's basically what she's saying. So EJ comes around to it, and EJ said, try to turn it around like he's the big shot and everything. So he's saying, you will I will not tell on you what's going on here as long as you don't tell on me what I have going on up there, and you don't harm the man upstairs or Ava. So she said, you have my word, right? At this point in time, I'm not even surprised EJ didn't even help Ava, because the lady in white is telling him that you have a reason for her to be here. It's karma because of what she did to your mom, because he mentioned that too. I don't know, she is a master manipulator, because she was able to manipulate Kristen, Rachel, and EJ all together. I don't know, she has some kind of skill. But anyways, EJ comes back, and that's when he was on the phone with Arnold, and abruptly ends it. Comes into the living area. Kristen is there, and Kristen said, "You really have poor phone etiquette. I couldn't make out what you were saying, but it did sound good." So he said, "Anyways, I have something to talk to you about." So she said, "What's going on?" So he said, like your mom, like how I met your mom." So she's surprised at that because she's wondering, like, how did that happen? But I guess we'll find out more about this conversation, because that was it. So we go back to Ava and Rachel Blake, right? So earlier when Rachel and EJ were talking outside, the phone was ringing because Kristen was trying to ring her mom to find out, if Ava is still under control, and she wasn't getting through to her, so she was, getting frantic. So Ava was trying to reach the phone. She was trying to get closer to the phone, but it wasn't working out. So Rachel Blake comes in. She sees that Ava is trying to cut out of her restraints, and she said, "Those are really tight. Like, you're not gonna get out of those." And she was asking her where EJ went. So she said EJ had to go. He had people to see, places to go, and he's not gonna help you, and nobody else is gonna help you. So at this point, Ava is just stuck at stage 1 yet again. So Sarah finally comes home, and she sees that Philip and Xander are cleaning up the mess. So she says, "Do I really want to know what's going on?" So he said, "No, we just was dealing with some business, and we got carried away." So anyways, Philip said that he's going home, and Xander invites him to dinner and said that, it would be nice, for us to really come together. And, this is a great example. So he goes and arranges that. So Sarah and Philip get to talk, and Philip said that we're really working together. We're coming close as brothers. And, this plan that we have to take down the mirror, it's really going well. So she said I'm glad to hear that, because I had a run-in with Kristen, and Kristen really got into my head for a bit to say that this was not going to work out. I had no reason to keep the secret. So Philip said, "Don't do that. You're doing a good thing for Xander and for our family." So she said, "Yeah." And then Xander invited you to dinner. So I think that's a step in the good path and everything, right? So she said, "Okay, Xander doesn't need to know that you faked the letter and all that." So, them talking about this in open, like anybody could walk in and hear it. And I'm just really, really hoping that Xander can hear them one day. And how Xander is hot-headed and he's fierce. I really can't wait for him to unleash it on Philip and especially Sarah, because Sarah, as his wife, shouldn't have done that. And I'm just really upset with her still. I'm just giving her the major side eye right now. So anyways, Xander comes in, and Xander said, "You know what? Maggie said that it's getting late, and can set up a guest room and set up a guest room for him." And this is a good step in the right direction, because the Merriweather are living together. Even though they're at odds, sometimes they look out for one another. So we need to do the same thing, because it's not like we have that much drama between us. So anyways, Philip likes the idea, and Sarah's just smiling like, okay, it's working out for everybody, right? But let's see, this is gonna be one huge mess when this gets revealed. But that is it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. See you tomorrow.